When I heard that Devin Haney and Wasily Lomachenko were gonna fight, I was excited to see it. But then I later heard that Lomachenko was asking for things that really stalled negotiations. Here's the real reason Wasily Lomachenko versus Devin Haney's negotiations have been stalled, starting with how Lomachenko's making way too many demands. Fights can get stalled over many reasons, but the most common are purse disagreements and contract terms. It's a high-stakes fight, so that kind of thing's just gonna happen. Lomachenko started stalling for time by being too specific about the perfect time for the fight. I think he might be doing it to buy himself some time, because he knows he doesn't stand a chance against Haney. Haney hasn't lost any of his 29 fights. He got a belt from the WBC in 2019, but he wasn't taken seriously as a champion until he beat the unbeaten Kambosos with a wide decision in their first fight 5 months ago. Last year, he backed up his claim to be the king of the lightweights. Devin Haney held the WBA and WBO belts himself until he lost the IBF belt in Las Vegas. Lopez gave the cachet to Kambosos 13 months later. This made it possible for Haney to rise to the top after 2 fights this year. Lomachenko won 2 Olympic gold medals before he turned pro in 2013. In his 3rd fight as a pro, he won a world title at featherweight and another at 130 pounds. In 2018, he moved up again to become a full-time lightweight. Before his upset loss to Lopez, he was 4-0 in the division with 2 knockouts. Since then, he's won 3 street fights. I don't know about you, but I'm really starting to get why Lomachenko keeps stalling. It's clear that Loma doesn't want this fight and is praying that it never happens. This isn't the axe, it's Devin Haney. But I'm telling you, Loma's in real trouble with this fight. If he's lucky, things will work out the way he wants. It's hoped that the two can find a way to work together soon, or else they'll have to move on. Apparently, Loma's done a lot of back and forth regarding this fight. It started with the former 3-division world champion giving Haney's money concessions to make the fight happen. If Lomachenko, who's 34 years old, wants to fight Haney for his 4 belts, then he'll have to give Haney some of the money he was hoping to get for the fight. No one knows how much extra money 24-year-old Haney needs before he'll agree. If Lomachenko says no, Haney will have to give up or try something else, like fighting Isaac Pitbull Cruz or Shakur Stevenson instead. Bob Arum, who runs Top Rank, would probably be over the moon if Haney defended against Stevenson. That would be an in-house fight, and Shakur could become the undisputed champion in his first fight at 135 pounds. As far as Devin's concerned, that fight might not really matter. That would be great for Top Rank, since this is Haney's last fight under their contract. They don't expect him to stay with them. If Haney doesn't want to fight Pitbull Cruz, it might be better for him to go after Lomachenko. That's a fight that Haney can easily win, and he can finish his contract with Top Rank by doing so. When Haney and Loma last got into the ring, there was no knowing what could go down. Bernardo Suna told ESPN that he remembers that Loma basically challenged Haney for the undisputed belt. There's no clear-cut date for the fight, but it's expected to occur very soon. Apparently, Haney's now expecting more concessions from Loma. He won't say what they are, so I can only assume it's gotta do with money. That's the main thing that's standing in the way of their fight. Speaking of Haney's demands, the two don't even have a deal yet. Sure, there are many tentative dates for the fight, but they still haven't gotten a solid deal down yet. Devin's sure that the deal can be reached pretty soon though, and they'll get there in the coming days. Tim Bradley's sure it's got to do with the money, which is why the deal hasn't been signed yet. Bradley shared that he thinks every penny should go to Haney because the Plater did everything right. He went to Australia, where he fought Kambosos twice and beat him both times. Will this fight really change Haney's life in any major way though? Let's be real about this. Loma needs Haney way more than Haney needs Lomachenko. Loma would do anything to make this fight happen, happen because it'll help improve his reputation. The whole thing's about cash at the end of the day, because Loma needs Haney more as a partner with whom he can show off his fighting skills in the ring. It's important to realize that Loma needs Haney more than Haney needs Lomachenko. The situation they're stuck in is pretty common though, and no one gets that better than Bradley. In the interview, he shared that he was in a similar situation years ago when top contenders asked to fight with him. Bradley had already fought twice as part of my contract for the year. Tim knew that this guy needed a dance partner, so when they first approached him to make an offer, he turned it down because he wanted more cash. Eventually though, Tim standing his ground paid off, and they came through with the amount he demanded. That means if Haney really wants the belts that he's prepared to fight for. But Lomachenko's still considered one of the best boxers of his generation, pound for pound. Since losing to Teofimo Lopez in 2020, he's won his last few fights and is putting himself back together. Both fighters are 10 years older than the other, but luckily, Lomachenko's still in his prime. We aren't the only ones with expectations and money on who will win though. A former lightweight champion piped in with his own opinion about the outcome of this fight. If the much talked about fight between Vasily Lomachenko and Devin Haney happens next, it'll be a light fight, and Haney will win. That's the opinion of George Kambosos Jr., who used to be the unified lightweight world champion and knows what it's like to fight with Haney. In 2021, the world was shocked when the Australian star went to America to beat Teofimo Lopez in a shocking upset in New York. The win over Lopez put Kambosos at the top of the 135-pound rankings, but he didn't stay there long because Haney beat him twice in a row the next year. Even though the talented American beat him both times, Kambosos respects him and thinks he'll beat the legendary Ukrainian. George Kambosos isn't the only one predicting what will go down between the two fighters. Shakur Stevenson thinks Haney has no choice but to fight. Stevenson said that Devin's father, Bill Haney, recently said they're staying at 135 until 2023. Shakur will take Bill at his word and go after Devin as long as he wins his next fight against Lomachenko. The next fight between Stevenson and Haney will depend on what Top Rank wants to do. Will Stevenson fight Haney? Bill Haney was probably just making a noise because the camera was on. He knew Devin would be too tired to fight Stevenson at 135 pounds. Haney won't be able to beat Stevenson with the ugly punch and hold style he used against George Kambosos Jr. in both of their fights, so it looks like the money might finally move. That's all the real reason why Vasily Lomachenko and Devin Haney's negotiations have been stalled. See you in the next one.